welcome back to Drumcast TV for October 25th, 2012. My name's Darren Mathis. Glad you could tune in. Today we're going to talk about putting some serious dents in your drumsticks or cymbals, or both. Let's go to a voicemail message I received from David.
Hi, Darren. This is David from Culver City, California. And first of all, I like your podcast. Your podcast is really good, and it's helped me a lot. And I had a question on how to hit a crash cymbal. So the way to hit a crash cymbal is to hit it with the shoulder of the stick. But I had a question on whenever you hit it with the shoulder of the stick, it leaves dents on the edge of the crash cymbal. So if there's a tip you can give, like hit it a different way, or I don't know, anything. Okay, thanks.
Hi David, thanks for that question. Now you're talking about putting dents in your cymbals with regular drumsticks, I'm assuming. And when I first heard that message, I was kind of wondering to myself what kind of cymbals you're using, or if you're actually talking about putting dents in your sticks, or if you are in fact talking about putting dents in your cymbals. My experience has been, I don't think I've ever really dented a cymbal myself. I mean, I've seen cymbals dented up, and certainly if you get the cheaper ones like sheet metal as opposed to cast cymbals like most of the higher end cymbals are, you're probably more likely to dent them up. If you have dents in your cymbals, I'm just assuming it's probably a lighter weight cymbal, probably less expensive. In that first video, or that song I was playing at the beginning, I was pretty mercilessly beating the cymbals, and which I've done for years, and some of these cymbals I've had for more than 20 years, like this one back here. This is a Zildjian 16-inch Crash, and it's not dented at all, and it's pretty thin. But you're asking about different ways to hit the cymbal. If there's a way that's more or less likely to dent it, well, in response to that, I would say as long as you're using a wooden drumstick, you're probably okay. There's really no rules about where to hit the cymbal. You talked about using the shoulder of the stick. This part right here, that's typically probably where I hit the cymbal the most. You see most of the dents in the stick there. But you can hit the cymbal however you want. If you're going for hitting the butt of the stick against it, you know, if that's the sound you're looking for, then there's nothing wrong with it. You know, a lot of people will hit, or I've seen people hit the cymbal like this too. Let's say you're holding a match grip, drop the stick down like this. Kind of makes an interesting chime sound. But yeah, if you're using wooden sticks, I don't know why a cymbal would ever dent unless it's a less expensive one or a really cheap one. If you're hitting it hard enough to dent, like if I'm going to hit one of these cymbals hard enough to dent, then the sound that's going to come out of it is not very good. I try and focus on drawing the sound out of the cymbal rather than like a smack. The philosophy of, you know, giving a smack just doesn't sound very musical to me. So when I hit them, I mean, there's just a whole range of sounds you can get out of cymbals depending on how you hit them and how hard you hit them. Let me use this cymbal back here as an example. Now this one was actually cracked when I got this from my high school about 20 years ago. I rescued it. They were going to throw it away. Had a tiny crack right here. I took it to a local music shop, and they lathed or cut that side off and smoothed it out so it's flat on that one side, but it still sounds great. So I wouldn't dream of just, you know, beating this until I tried to dent it, because it's not going to sound very musical. What I would do is try and draw the sound out of it. You know, it's one of the great things about acoustic drums and cymbals over electronic drums, just a limitless number of dynamics and sounds you can get out of these things. You can see there in my technique, I'm trying to pull the sound out almost. But if you watched that song at the beginning, I was really coming down. I'd get the stick over my head in some cases. A lot of that is just like what you happen to be feeling at the time. But even given the fact that I was going over my head, I still don't see any of these cymbals getting dented up. This crack in here, I'm guessing it came lots of times if you drop a cymbal on cement or get a little chip in it or a little nick from dropping it on like cement. that could be the start of a crack. And I imagine that's how that started. But like I said, 20 years of playing this, not a single dent in it. It's really thin too. Use wood sticks. If you use something other than wood sticks, I can see the cymbal getting dented, like metal, anything other than wood. I guess there's plastic sticks out there. What are those, aluminum ones? Head drumsticks. Now, I don't have any experience using those just because I've always thought, I don't know, I just like the feel of wood. But maybe some of you guys can chime in if you use a head drumsticks and tell me your experience, if those are more or less likely to dent or damage a cymbal. But for me, always use wood drumsticks. I've used the plastic ones in the past, but I just like the way wood sounds on it. And your drumsticks are always going to get chewed up. Mine usually start off with a lot of dent marks in the middle from doing rim shots on the snare. If I do a lot of work on the hi-hat, I can tell that, but I'm usually not a really heavy hitter, so my sticks will last a long time. They didn't used to when I was first starting out, when I was still figuring out that once you hit a drum or a cymbal harder than a certain point, it's not going to sound any better. And I used to just put the gun mufflers on and just go crazy, and I would just play by feel rather than listening to. So I ended up splintering a lot of drum sticks and breaking drum heads, but still never cracked a cymbal or dented one. If you think of it, David, let me know what kind of cymbal that is that you dented up. I'd be curious to know too. But I want to re-emphasize that there's no hard and fast rules about how to hit a cymbal. Whether you're doing a glancing blow, straight on, hitting the side, hitting with the tip, it's all depends on what kind of sound you're going for. As long as you're achieving the sound you want, then that is the correct technique. Thanks again, David, for that question. And thanks for tuning into this episode of Drumcast TV. Until next time, keep practicing, and God bless.